Hello, Claire.
Hello.
How y'all doing?
Good.
Hello.
All right. Any questions from the last lecture? Anybody? Everybody straight? And we was working with chapter 3. This that one. Okay, let me see something. Okay, we was working with chapter 3. So I guess how many people on 7 on? Come on, everybody sign the roll. Make sure you sign the roll.
Yes, sir.
All right. Let me share my screen. Okay, so let's continue on with chapter 3. Go down here. We stopped on manipulating our data in the IO-man IP header file. All right, formatting output, which is pretty much that's what it is. All right, so formatting output. The cout object provides ways to format data as it is being displayed. This affects the way the data appears on the screen. And most times as programmers, if you're working for a company, they may have certain ways they want information to be outputted, formatted, displayed, etc. So, and then most times as a programmer, when you output information, you want data to be outputted in a fashion to where it's readable, it's legible, in that you don't want somebody to have to guess whether or not 2 words are separated from the other one, if numbers, punctuation, numbers are adjacent to each other. Like if I'm trying to print out the numbers 100 and the number 20, and then all of a sudden I see 10020, and I don't know whether it's 100 and 10,020, or is it 100 and then the number 20. So stuff like that, and other things dealing with alignment. You may want to be able to manage your data, manipulate your data, basically, especially if you're doing column information. You can format it. So and then you can format your numbers with your decimal numbers with the decimal place. So it tells us the same data can be printed and are displayed in several ways, all right, different ways. For example, all of the following numbers have the same value, although they look different. Here you have the number 720, you have a 720.0, 720.000000000, 7.2 plus 2 or plus 720.0. So all those are the same exact value, but what? Displayed in a different way. All right. So the way a value is printed is called formatting. Whether the values or anything to the screen, it's called formatting. Cout object has a standard way of formatting variables of each data type. Sometimes, however, you need more control over the way data is displayed. Like I say, whether it's left align, right align, whether you want more decimal places, less decimal places. Let's give you an example. If I'm writing a program and it's dealing with monetary values, you don't want to have to calculate some number, and then it's rather than it's saying 250.00, you have you can say 250.4589. You want 250.45, right? You know what I'm saying? So you may have to format your data so it looks like it's supposed to look, given this the format of that data. So it tells us to consider this program, which displays numbers with spaces between each one. All right, but then look, what's the issue? Well, they are spaced, but now what did they do? They physically what? Put quote space quote double quote at least double quote space double quote. Output it the number in between each. You can do that. That's nothing wrong with it, but you can also use a set W command that will allow you to say, okay, I want this number to be displayed or outputted within these 5 columns. Now you can tell it whether to right align it, left align it, doesn't matter. And then it'll display that number. Now, what's the advantage over doing this as over doing this? Well, it just depends. If you just print out this and a one-time thing, cool. But depending on the size of your numbers and how well you want them to align up, the set W may be the best fit for you. All right. So what happens is my set width tells me the width of the column that I want this number to fit in. So I could make it stretch 10 characters, 10 columns, and then place in my 2-digit number. So that means what? I have 8 columns in front of it. So I've just spaced it out from the other number by that much. So as I say, rather than trying to go and hit the space bar so many times to space out a number. And that way, no matter whatever number you print, if the number has X number of columns, or X number of characters, it's going to fall within that same thing, and you're not worrying about that tab throwing things off and the number is not in the proper column. So that's what the set W does. And what happens, they showed you, okay, this was a set width of 5. So you got a number 1, 2, 3, 4, it got 1 space in front of it. A number 1, 2, 3, 4, it got 1 space in front of it. Number 1, 2, 3, 4, it got 1 space. So the largest numbers was 4 in each column. But when it printed any of the numbers, it says, okay, 5 columns, start the number from the right, align the number to the right, print out the number. But then look in here, they set the width to 6. Once they set the width to 6, now you have 2 spaces in between the numbers. Numbers with columns that you are working with. So, like I say, I think this would be a better fit for you. But like I say, the other way is more or less a dinosaur way. It's easier to change a number than the space bar because now you don't got to count your spaces. If you got 10 or 20 spaces, you have to count them each time, whatever. But a number, you know exactly what that number is. Looking at this, set width 5. And then it's printing out an integer of 3,928. So what that means, set width is 5, so it got what? 1 space in front, 1 space. Set width of 8, and we print out the number 91.5. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 characters. So that means you're gonna have 1, 2, 3, 4 in the front. Should be 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh no, it's 8. My fault. I thought it was 9. So you have 4 characters in the front. And the same thing with John Smith. John J. Smith. So you got set width to 16. Now you have a name that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So 16 minus the 13, that's 3. Is that 13? 4, 5, 6, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. That is 13. So it's, and I'm starting from the right, and it's printing out John, but 1, 2, 3, it got 4. It should be only 3 spaces because this is 16, this is 4, 13. So you should have the 3 spaces in the front. All right. And this the string. So now that's dealing with the set W. In order to use set W, you have to, in your program, and let me open up Visual. I'll just open up first class. I'll open up Visual, and you have to use the IOMAN IP header file. Without that header file, you will not be able to use those functions, all right? So you have to have the IOMAN IP header file. Come on up, come on up. All right, so let's look at this program. What I'm going to have to change this. We're not dealing with arrays yet. So I'll take this out. I'll say int number equals. And I'll leave this in, let's say. All right, semicolon. So now for int x equals 0, see how x, I'll just say see our number times x. All right, so that's just gonna say whatever, 4 times 0, 4 times 1. That's gonna give me some output. And then I'll do this. And I'll do number times x. Well, I'll say number plus 1 times x. All right. All right. Okay. So let's see what I did here. I don't need this. All right. So I have this. So if I run this program in line tab, okay. All right. Let's see. Let's debug it. And what we get. Well, let's show. All right. So notice what we get. We did the number times x, and then we did x plus 1 times the number. I mean number plus 1. What is that? Number plus 1. I know what I did. Okay. I'll do this one. I was looking for a different answer. Number plus 1. So I'm gonna add first, then I'm gonna multiply. All right. So I'll close that up. And now we'll see it different. All right. So, and I just want, I could have used that. So this was multiplying by the 4, this was multiplying by the 5. But look what happens when the digits change. You see how it automatically kind of tabbed over because it went over in another column for the tab part. So what I can do is I can go up at the top and load a header file include IOMAN IP. All right. Now this header file will allow me, I could take this out and now I could do set W, and then I can set my width for each. My number gonna be printed, but what's the column width to print the number? All my numbers was what? The larger was like 2 digits. So I'll say 5. So 5 is gonna print to the right by default, and I'll have 3 spaces in front. So the next column, I'm gonna have my 5 number, my 5 column, and then what? The two digits, and everything gonna be aligned. So if I run it this time, and I could put it at the beginning also. I could set it, rather than use the tab here, I could say set W to 5. So I'm doing 5 columns for the first number, and then print it out, 5 columns, and print another one in that one. So now when I do the debug and I run it, watch what happens. See, I done forced it to work with the first 5 columns for the first number, and then the next 5 columns with the next output. So It's doing set W, print the number, set W, print the number, new line, set W, print the number, set W, print the number, new line, set W, print the number, set W, print the number, new line. So it's doing each one as it prints because it's in a loop. Now, I can stretch that out if I wanted to. This one is 5. If I leave that one at 5, I'll change that one to 15. And all of a sudden now, what happened, I'm going to have more space in between the columns. See what I'm saying? So I just shifted the number over X number of characters without trying to use the space bar and double quote and spaces. All right. And if I wanted to use the move the first one over, say I'll move it rather than 5, I'll move it. I'll say 10. Within this 10 columns, 10 column spaces. Print that number, whatever that number is, and then now when I debug it, it moves it over. Print 10. See, so it done moved it over. Now the thing is though, if I have output that's if I specify a column, a set W column width that's less than the size of the outputted value, you won't get an error, but it'll just overflow. So it'll just overflow. So if I had a number here that was 22 characters, it'll just overflow over here, and then this will be off. And if this one was shorter, it'll start back here. So wherever I have an overflow, it won't give an error. It'll just move it over on that one. All right. So I'll give you an example. I'll set the width. I'll change the width. If I do what? Go back here and close this out. And then I'll click here. No. I'll click. What happened? Oh yeah, click here. And now I'll change this to 3. And I'll change this to 400. So watch what happens. This one will be cool. It'll be straight in a sense that it's set. The numbers won't be larger than whatever, I don't think. But watch when I run it and then I set the column with the 3. See, I set the column with the 3, but look what happens. The first number was 0, and they got 2 spaces in front. Second number was 4. It got no spaces in 400 at least, no spaces. 800, no spaces. But look, when I went 1200, it said the 3, but it's not gonna give me an error. It'll just write out the number. You understand? So it'll just flow over. But then the next one here, it's pretty much the same difference because this one, these are printed correctly in that when I printed this one, then it went what? 15 over. Printed this one, but then being that it overflowed, it went 15 from the overflow point. All right. So things like that. So you have to make sure your number, you have enough space in your column. So I could change this to say 5, or I'll change it to 6, and then all my numbers now should be aligned in the proper order. So you see, now there's another command you could use, and it's an alignment command. So I could print this, but I could say before I print it, also I want to print it to the left. By default, it's going to automatically right justify. Now I'm telling it for the first number, not necessarily here the first number. Whenever I set a justify command like left, it will stay left until I tell it to go back right. So over here, if I want that second number to be right justified, I could go here and say right. Okay. So now it'll print this to the left. All right. It'll print this first number times X to the left, and then it'll print number plus 1 times X to the right of this column. So it'll print at the beginning on the first one and the same way on the other one. When I run it, notice what? All the way to the edge of the corner, because I said I want 6 column spaces, so it stopped here 2 spaces over, but it started from the left going to the right. And then this number, I think 2 left over, and then I say 15, so 15, then it start, and then it print the number to the right. Okay, so that's some things you can work with using the IOMAN IP. All right, so let's go back to the notes. Anybody with any questions? Any questions so far? All right, so also what you can do with this IOMAN IP, you can set the precision of what you of the number that you want to print out. If you notice here, by default, if I print out a number, by default, when I did CR quotient, I divided one number divided by another. By default, it's gonna give me 6 significant digits. By default, if I divide 10.0 by 3 and display it, it's gonna give me 3 point, so that's 1 digit, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. Well, yeah, right, 6 digits. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Correct. So it's gonna give me 3 point and then 5 digits after the point, which gives me 6 digits, a 6-digit significant digit number. So, example, if I go here and I'll just do this C out and in a line, and I'll say 10 divided by 3. All right. By default, it should give me three digits. I mean a 3 with 6 or 5 numbers at the end. All right. So here, look, 3 and then what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's a significant digit, 6 significant digits. Because if any one of these was a 0, it wouldn't print it. All right. So any trailing zeros from the end of the decimal place, it would just be the number. Like if it was 3.330000, it'll be just 3.33, and that's it. Significant digits. All right, but it's 3 and continue on infinitely. All right, so now back to the program, but we can change that. We can by default it's 6. We could say set the precision to 5, set the precision to 4, set it to 3, 2, or 1. So what happens is now we can format the number that we get as output to look like we want. Example, go back to the program and I'll say, I'll do a set precision and I'll say 3. All of a sudden now I'm gonna only get 3 significant digits. What that means, I'm gonna get 3.33, and that's it. 3 significant digits. So when I debug there, when I run it, you'll see that I'll get what? 3.33. So everybody see that. What happens is I use the set precision, and then I set my significant digit to 3. See here, I set it to 3. All right. So that's how you can start manipulating your numbers, if you wanted to. But at the same time, that doesn't guarantee that your decimal place is what? 2 decimal places. Because if I change this to 100, 3 goes in the 100, what? X number, well, it's larger than 3. So when I run it now, but I'm gonna still get the 0.333. When I run it now, if I run it, okay. See what happens? So when I divide it by 100, all of a sudden now 3 goes 133 times, 0.3, it's still 0.3333, but the set precision is set to 3, so it's going. I'm telling it to give me the 3 significant digits. So 33.3. So that's 1, 2, 3 significant digits, which I asked for. Okay, so that's how you can manipulate numbers. Now, even like you say, going down all the way to 1 or whatever. So they took this number, printed it, then scientific notation got 5, 4 digits, significant digits, 3 significant digits, 2 significant digits, and 1. All right. So that's how that's done. Now, looking at this, all right, it's saying, okay, I have this number. If I do a set precision on this number, I'm telling it I want 3 significant digits. Okay, 3 significant digits. Anything other than trailing zeros, I got, or leading zeros, 28.9, period. That's it. 3 significant digits. This one say five significant digits, but there's no anything here would be nothing, or 0.000, which is insignificant. 0.000 is in the front of 21, insignificant. So it's only 21. There's no other significant digits to be printed. Same thing with this one. It says set it to 4. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 numbers. So I'm gonna get the exact same number, 109.5. But then we look at this one, set precision 2. It says, okay, 2 significant digits. Now, this could have been 0.2, and then I'd have got 0.2 whatever, but it's two numbers in front, and then a decimal place with numbers. So the the significant digits is the front part, 34. You're saying I don't want to worry about if it have any decimal places on this particular number, because you're truncating it because you said only 2 significant digits. Okay, all right. So this is a program that they have written, and what they did set W. Okay, they did a set W8. They got a number that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and they got what? Spaced out 2 spaces from this. So as long as the number is not 8 digits, it's not pressed upon the semicolon. You got a space, you got 2 spaces in front of it. All right? Okay. But if you would output with, this automatically give you a space here. All right? That automatically. This is the number that's in it. This is the output. But what? Set W8 and days 1, it should have done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It should have 2 numbers in front of this, 2 column spaces in front of this, because you already have 1 for the double quote, but then you should have 2 in front of that. All right, because you're setting your width to 8. So this look a little deceiving because it should be more spaces here, but that's what it shows. All right, when they're using a set W. Now, what happens if I use fixed? All right, once I use fixed, okay, the fixed manipulator, what's the separate with the set precision? I'm not dealing with the significant digit anymore. Now I'm dealing with the decimal place. Okay, remember that. If I'm using fixed, all right, with set precision, now I'm dealing with my decimal places. And you say, well, what you mean by that, Mr. Sylvester? So seeing this, I got set precision to 3. And now I can do something like fixed. All right. Now, rather than me get 33.3, I'm going to get 33.333, because now I'm using fixed with set precision, which says now deal with the decimal place. So when I run this, see what happens? This exact same number with set precision set just to 3 without fixed gave me 33.3. But once I put fixed in there, it says now deal with that decimal place. I'm not dealing with the significant digit anymore. I'm dealing with the decimal place. So if I'm dealing with monetary values, I'm gonna use, and I use fixed. I'll set my precision to 2, so that all of my floating point data will come out with a 0.00, 0.2, point whatever. Because if I divide this by 5, okay, so 100 divided by 5 is what? 20, right? 20. So 20, 40, 60, 80, 100. So this should give me what? 20. But I said set precision to 2, meaning, and I got fixed. So that means I want 2 decimal places. Well, there's no numbers after that, so the system says, okay, I'm gonna put 0.00. So when I run it, now you have 20.00. All right, you see what happens? Because what? Just dividing this by 5 give me 20. But I said I wanted an fixed with a set precision of 2. That's 2 decimal places. I'm gonna force it to output the 2 decimal places. All right. So any questions on that? So that's the fix. That's how that works. And like I said, you can set it, and I think it will automatically be fixed throughout until you change it to something else. Right? Because if I got to print something else and it's not, and it's a floating point and I don't want it to be fixed too, I have to change or set precision to fix whatever. I have to change it, and then it'll print to that one. But by long as it's set, as long as this is done, wherever I print out a decimal number, I'll get the 2 decimal places. All right, a float or a double, I'll get the 2 decimal places. All right. Okay, so that's we use the set. The set W, the fixed. All right, set precision. All right. So in looking at this, we did this one already, but they're showing it where, they're showing it correctly this time. So the 8. Let's see. Nope. Set W8 day 1. So when you output this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, it should be 1 space. So where's the 8? Oh, no. What happened here? See, we got what? Fixed along with what? Set precision. So that says what? 2 decimal places automatically. But I'm trying to figure out why the set W is showing so many spaces in between here, because 8, this says set width to 8 and print out day. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It should only be 1 space in between it. But they gave the output. I guess they're just showing you understanding how to understand the output, but that's okay. So see how it set precision with the fixed? When the fixed manipulator is used, all floating point numbers that are subsequently printed will be displayed with a fixed point notation. So that means anything I print after this until I change it will have 2 decimal places if it's a float value or double value. Okay, with the numbers of digits to the right of the decimal point specified by the set precision manipulator. All right. So that's all that's saying. And we went over that, the show point, right? Manipulator. By default, floating point numbers are displayed with a trailing 0. Okay. They're by default, if it's floating point, a trailing 0. The floating point number that do not have a fractional part are not displayed with a decimal point. For example, given this and what they're saying, this is with the set precision show point, show point, and then X. So it divided, it took this and it outputted X, all right? X was here 123.4, all right? And then it outputted Y, which as long as this is here is gonna output. But what? Set precision 6 show point. So it's like 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is a significant digit, all right, of 6, but it don't have all the digits, so it's gonna say, okay, show point up until that. So it's gonna add the 6 digits up until that. So given this program here, when we divided this by this, if I take this off and I put show point, now we're gonna have what? 20. But if I say 4, all of a sudden now we're gonna put 20.00 because show point set and the set precision of 4 is gonna print out the number and then it's gonna give you 2 extra digits that's printed. All right, so you can see you get 20.00. All right, so it's like it's trying to tell it, okay, I don't see significant digits, but I want the digits to display up until 4 digits. All right, so that's the show point. So you have the set precision, set W, fixed, and what else? Show point. All right, and then you got left and right. Those are the formatting values. Well, look, left and right, and it just tells you what happens with this. All right, each value X, Y, and Z are displayed and printed. Is a print field of 10 spaces. The output of the cout statement is this. So this is what they get. They're telling you by default. But notice that each of the values is right justified, all right, or aligned to the right as it point as its print field. So what happens is, okay, it printed all of these numbers. Okay, this 10, this 10, this should have been to the right to here, and this right. This one is right. I don't know why I printed this one over, but it aligned the decimal place, but this should have been all over, all right, to the right, because you got set W and your default alignment is to the right, okay? Now, the output of these statements, no, that's not right. And let's see, let me take this, right click, copy, and I'm gonna put this in here, because I think the output is wrong. But let's see here. All right. Okay, let's see, pay. All right, so this is being paid, so I'm gonna debug it. Did I set X and Y? Yeah, okay, I got it. Oh, I need to change. I need to do it at the top because I have all kind of settings above it. So let me do this. I'm gonna take this before I even start doing my set precision. I'll cut this, paste it up here, and then I'll print. I'll run it. I'll run it. I still set it to the left. Why is it to the left? Oh, yeah. But see here, it says left here. But look, let's see. Let's go back to the source code. See here, look how it printed for them. They printed it as it's coming over one, and that's not right. So, to the left means it's going to be all the way to the left margin. When I print the next one, I'm on a new line, set W10, but then I'm still printing to the left of those 10 columns. New line, still printing to the left of those 10 columns. So I'm not sure why they're showing this output in this fashion, which is wrong, because the output should be well, where it is. So output should be like this up at the top. See how it's like to the left, to the left, to the left, which is correct because each line I'm printing 10 spaces though, but I'm printing from the left going back to the right. So the book kind of have it a little bit off, but hopefully you can understand what the left means. And then if I do the right, it'll be a line to the right. All right. So we talked about the set W and so many: fix, show point, set precision, and the left and right. And these are the descriptions and what they did, but we just went over that, but you can refresh. All right. Now, working with characters and string objects. All right. Now, we have to understand that in order for us to use a string, all right, data type, which is not an actual data type within the data type set. You know, it's a program of the person who developed the compiler created a function to handle strings. But in order for you to declare a variable to be a string, you have to load the string header file. All right. So, and like I say, class, all this stuff you're gonna have to remember. You're gonna have to have it in your mind to know. Because like I say, you move to the next class and the teacher say write a program, declare a variable, string, this, that, whatever. You're gonna have to know, well, if I'm using string, I have to do my string header file. You know, things of that things like that should just should come to you. So pound include string. All right. So that means now, if I could type, that means now I can create any string variable in my program. So I'm gonna take this part out. Okay, I'll take this out. So what I'll do now, I could say string inside my main function, string, and I'll say name. All right, I'm gonna type string name. So now I have a variable called name. Now a string is a series of one or more characters, class. A string is your name. A string is the name of a building. The string can be a sentence. A string can be a book title. You understand? A string is a series of characters. All right. So now, when I use string, I could declare string. Now I could say name. I could assign it a value. Name is equal to So now I've just given it, assigned it a value. So now string is equal to Baton Rouge Community College, right? What did I take number? Oh, number, okay. All right, so I take my error out. All right, so now, in order for me to print that string, I could just simply say cout and name. The computer will know what? Name is equal to Baton Rouge Community College, so it'll say, okay, I'm gonna take Baton Rouge Community College and I'll print it, all right? Now, the reason why you can do this is I've declared it to equal to Baton Rouge Community College. Therefore, the system automatically knows that the end of the string is the E, and it prints out that data. They don't really understand why, that's done based on that null terminator. All right. So now, if I run the program, all right, at the end of the program, you should see Baton Rouge Community College. So see how it printed Baton Rouge Community College. Name is equal to Baton Rouge Community College, cout name, and it's cout Baton Rouge Community College. All right. So let's get back to the notes. Now, so in this program, it says name, string name, but first of all, pound includes string. String name, string city. So please enter your name. Input your name. Please enter your city. Now, I'm thinking we've done this program. It might have been my 192 class. in this program, this particular code here will only allow you to input a name with that does not have spaces in it. This particular code will only allow you to input a city that doesn't have any spaces in its name. Everybody understand that? Well, if you don't, check this out. Yeah, go here. I'll take this off and say, I'll take this off and I'll say, see out please enter your school name, all right? And then I'll say CN name, okay? And then at the bottom, we still got see out name, correct? Now, I ain't gonna give errors. No, I'm not inputting that now. So when I do debug and I run this, enter your school, please enter your school name. Baton Rouge. Baton Rouge Community College. Hit enter. What did it output at the bottom? Only Baton. What did I say with that state with the statements that we had for the name? The way we have it written, it will only read up until a blank or a white space. Once it gets to the blank space, it stops accepting data for that particular variable, because it says, okay, I grab this. Just like when you do a CN with a number. If I put in a number space on a CN, that means I'm going to read the first number, O space, we're waiting on the next number, space, oh, waiting on the next number. So, and the same thing here with name. I'm telling it to read in this string, but I'm using the CN statement. The CN statement going to read until it hit a space and say, okay, boom, I got it. And that's that. So to fix that, the book tell us we need to use get line, all right? So if you look here, when I'm reading in the input of a string, use the get line and then the CN in the variable name so that it can say, okay, I want to get the entire line until they hit the enter key and put that in that variable. So how do you fix that? That will be done this way. Just like I told you, you use the get line and then CN and then whatever the variable name is. Bam. So now it says, please enter your school. Now it's waiting to accept the whole line, and the line ends at the enter key. So I could type however number of characters. Until I hit the enter key, that's the end of the line. All right? So when I do a debug, okay, here, and I run this, please enter your school name. Now, notice what happened. Baton Rouge Community College. All right, so it read everything up until the enter key was pressed, and it stored it into that string variable. So those little things can cause you issues. And sometimes I give students programs and I give them hints about inputting data using getLine and using CN, and they choose to ignore it. Now, if you enter in numbers, yes, you can use the CN. If you enter in strings, especially strings with spaces in it, you should use the get line. Give me an example. I cannot try to input a state using CN in something like New York, Port Allen, Baton Rouge, now Plaquemine, Alexandria, what else? Baker, all those small names, like the single names, your program will work, but your program will not work for all situations. All right. So that's the key. So if you create the program, if your instructor or your company give you a program to write in C++, and you're dealing with input and string data, and you know that string data that's coming in may have spaces in it, you need to use the get line. Any other type variable like integer variables, you can make them in. You know what I'm saying? But you can make int variables string too. Or you can make them char and read them in as char. And then you convert them or use them. Use the command we talked about the other day, the static cast, to take a number and cast it as integer, and use it the way you want to use it. So it's many different ways you can write your code to satisfy your needs. But like I say, if you're reading in string data and it has, well, not saying it has, if you know that it's a possibility of input that's coming in will have spaces in it, you need to use the get line. Simple as that. You're gonna have to, otherwise your program gonna run the risk of having issues. And I'll show you another reason also. Watch when I do this. I'll use the CN to show you what kind of errors you could get. I'll say, okay, CN name, all right? But then I'll go up here, and then what I'll do, I don't want to do that. What I'll do, I'll add another string variable, okay? String city, all right? So, and I'll do the same thing here. All right. So I'll say enter. Yeah, I'll say enter your name. I'll say enter your name. Okay, I'll say your name. All right. So now, and I got them both at CN. Right. So now when I debug this, okay, enter your name. I'll say John Doe. Just watch what happens. When I hit enter, did it allow me to type in my city? No, it didn't. Why? Well, I'll show you why. I'm gonna close this out and I'm gonna go down here and now I'm gonna print out city, print out name. Now let's run it. Let's say, all right, so now let's run it. Now I'm gonna ask for the same information, right? John Doe. Oh, it didn't allow me to type in the city, but look what happened. I'm outputting name. What did it output? John. I outputted the city. What did it output? Doe. So what happened? The computer said, okay, CN name. Okay, CN gonna take up until the space. So it took what? John and put it in name. Then it says, wait a minute, I still have information in the buffer. So now I'm gonna take the last part of that was supposedly was supposed to be the name, which is still in the buffer, and I'm gonna assign it as the input for the city. And what happened? It printed out Doe as the city. So see how your program can become confusing if you don't do it properly. And like I say, all I need to do is go up in here and where I'm inputting it and do the what? Get line, CN name, and what? Being that city can be what? More than one what? well have spaces in it too, I'll use the get line. For it. So now when I run it, enter your name, John Doe. What? Because it took what? Everything up until I hit enter for the name, right? Then I can put in, I'll say New York. Because what? If I could tell you. Now, because what? Being that I got get line, it's going to take from new all the way to the end of York. But if I would have used CN for city and city was a string, it would have just taken the first part, which is new, and assigned it to the city. But being that I made them both using get line, now they both should work in order. So John Doe and then New York. Okay, so you see how that works. Now, back to the program. All right. So, like I said, we pretty much went over it now. Character data. All right. Character data. Let's look at the character data. String data, like I said, you got to remember that input. Got to remember this input statement here. That'll get you a whole lot of headaches. All right. Now, character input. Character input is when your input deals with a single character, char, right? Now, anytime I use my char, and if I'm inputting char or if I'm assigning something to that char variable, it should be a single, it would enclose within a single quote because I'm reading one character, right? So now, and like I say, I use a CN because I'm not trying to get a whole line of characters. I use the CN, right? So now I could say, well, let's read what it say. Input in a char character. All right. Sometimes you want to read only a single character of input. For example, some programs display a menu, all right, of items. Right. It might say A, do this, B, do this, C, do this, E, do this, F, do this. So you might choose A, hit enter, B, hit enter, or whatever. Or it could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, however it may be. All right. And then it may be just that single character. So then you want to allow it to input that single character. And doing that, you can just use the CN command. All right. So if I go back here and if I say, okay, I'll do something like char character. All right. Or char letter. All right. All right. Now, I'll assign it a value too. And I could say equals a. Now, or 1. Now, class, notice what happened. It's in single quotes. So that means it's a single character, all right? Well, say I'll make it 0. I'll just make it 0. All right. So I could do something like this. If let's see. I'll do something like this. See out. And I'm just STEM. And I'm just making something up. And I don't want to do that. I want to end line. I'm going to do that down. All right, let me do it like this. End line. All right. So then I would do this here. I would say, okay, see out. I can type 1. Get name and city. Okay. See out. What's going? Okay. See out 2. Let's see. Calculate for loop. All right. So what I've done here, now I'm gonna say if letter is equal to 1, but I can't do 1. I gotta put it in what? Single quote. If it's equal to 1, I want to do this. If I could get this together. All right. So if it's 1, I want to do that. All right. And I'll just do an if. I'm not going to do an else. We'll get to that. If letter is equal to 2, then I want to do this number thing. I need to close it. I'll close it here. I'll close it here. So if letter is equal to 2, and then I could have had quit too. But I won't do quit. Well, yeah, I need to do. No, I'll just do the 1 and 2. So if it go 1 is do whatever, it's 2 would do whatever. But after the end of all that, it still should output the city, name and city. If name and city was chosen. So, but like I say, that's kind of irrelevant. I'll just leave it like that. So let's see. Let's see if I got it like I want. So if I debug it, okay, debug it. All right. So now, see here? Oh no. You know what I didn't do? I didn't do a CN for letter. All right. So I should have did not here. Because it's equal to, I said it equal to 0. I was supposed to do this. See out all right. So I was supposed to say CN choice and see out choice, then CN letter. Now, that's going to allow it to pause and wait for a value for letter. My fault. So I didn't allow it to prompt to input the data. All right. So see here, menu system, just something created, nothing fancy. Now either I'm going to execute the part to input a city or state, or I'm going to execute the numbers. I'll say 1 and hit enter. So see what happened? I type in just the number 1, a character value using CN, and now input this. See what happened? I know what happened here. So what happens most times, and I guess because I'm using multiple inputs, most times I have to use, you have to use CN, enter that. I have to use CN dot ignore. And I might have the wrong place. But what it does is it clears out the buffer of anything that's left over. Because when I put the 1 in and hit enter, the inner mark is in the buffer, and that what took the place of enter your name. So you use the cn.ignore so that that value can be see here, just that simple statement allow it to clear the buffer and say now my buffer is clear, nothing is in there, so I don't have nothing to just readily accept. I'm waiting on my name. So name John Doe, school, city, New York, and what? John Doe, New York. I'll run it again. All right. Debug. Now I'm going to choose 2. 2, enter. It calculated the numbers. All right. And what? Now I still did a printout of this because it was outside the loop, but nothing was inputted for the name. All right. But you see how sometimes, just sometimes, you may have to use the single character char to manipulate data or write code to perform some task within your program. And if you notice, anything that was char, letter is of char. It's a single quote around it. If I put 2 quotes around it, it may not give me an error. Well, it did though, because this side and this side is not equal anymore. This is char. This says this is a string. That means I have a number plus the null terminator at the end of it, which it makes it 2 characters. So that double quote changes the value of that 2. So now it's okay. So if you understand, sometimes, just sometimes you got, and like I said, I had to use cn.ignore to clear out the buffer. I read in my my single character. But what happened was when I went in to read in something from get line, it said, well, wait a minute, something is still in the buffer. So I'll just accept that for the name, type in your city. And I said, well, before I do that, I want to ignore, read in the letter that I'm going to perform. Letter is given a value. Then now I want to wipe out or clear out my buffer, my input buffer, and now display this. Well, it's number 1. So number 1 says, okay, get line. There's nothing in the buffer. So I'll get the name, then hit enter, clear buffer, clear, and get the city, and then I'll continue on with the program. All right? Any questions, class? Questions? Let's move on. Let's see. Inputting the character. So that's how you input a character. All right? All right, cn.get. Now you can use the cn.get, same thing. All right, if you wish, well, as with entering string input, however, there are times when using cn to reading characters does not do what you want. For example, because it passes over all leading white spaces, all right, it is impossible to input just a blank or enter with cn. All right, just reading it, CN. All right, the program will not continue past the CN statement until some character. You can hit the space bar as long as you want until you hit a character. Then it's going to send it. So enter, hit enter. So some character other than the space bar, tab, or enter key has been pressed. Okay, so once such a character is entered, all right, the enter key must still be pressed before the program can continue, okay, to the next statement, right? Thus, the program asks the user to press any key to continue, all right? All right? It can't be used because what happens? You have to type in something, okay? Now, cannot to continue. All right, and you cannot use the stream operator to read only the enter key. All right. Now, in those situations, the CN object has a built-in function named get. All right, get that is helpful because the get function is built into the CN object. All right, and we say that it is a member function. All right, of CN. All right. So now the get member of function reads a single character, including any white space character. All right. If the program needs to store the character being read, the get member function can then be called in either the following ways. Both examples assume that CH, all right, is the name of the character variable and the character is being read into, all right? So it's like what they did was send that get ch, then R, and like I said, you can use it either way. R ch equals cn dot get get, and then with no arguments. All right. So in using this one, let me copy this and put it in now. All right, and see the difference. All right. So rather than use this cn, I'll paste this in here, and I'll do the paste. But then this should be what? This should be what? Letter. All right. So now this, I'm gonna comment this out to show. See. Now let's run it. All right. Debug. Run. Now what I'm gonna do? All right. I'm gonna put in 1. Hit enter. All right. So see, it did the same thing here. It's still looking for what? A number. I'm not a number. Still looking, skipping the name, and now it's looking for the city. All right. So it read the data, but it's just not allowing it to ignore what's left in the buffer. All right. So here, run it 1, and see, it stops. All right. So like I say, it's doing the same exact thing. And then the other one, like I said, I've never used that one that much. All right. The other one, ch equals cn dot get, and like I said, they basically both the same same function. All right. So I'll go up here and change this. All right. So I changed it. Not ch. This should be what? Letter. All right. Change that to letter. I'll take this off. I'll run it again. Should get that same error if I type 1. If I type 2, I shouldn't get an error, but 1, well, I'm going to read in another, see, I'm reading in another value. But why? It give me it skips that. But if I do 2, it's like my program don't have any problems because I'm not reading in another string or whatever after that. But when I go to that first option, that's when I see my problem. You understand? So sometimes you got to check, well, all the time, you have to check your program to run it to fall into all the circumstances that you have it programmed for. So I do 1, see? Now I'm going to do John Doe. And then it prints. All right? So you can, and like I say, those are programming styles. All right? And you get to choose how you write your code, and unless the whatever company you work for, they may have certain rules and specifications as to why they do certain things. All right. So like I say, this is just showing you a program that's doing the same thing. Basically, this cn.get pauses the system, so before you leave out, it'll allow you to look at some things or whatever. So it'll pause the system. Sometimes you want to just print something on the screen, that'll allow the screen to pause, and then you hit enter key, and it continues. You don't have to input a value. All right? Now, and look, mixing cn and cn.get. Okay, mixing cn with the cn.get can cause an annoying and hard to find error, which I just showed you. All right. Remember, I had, and if we look in here, I had cn up here, and then I had get line. Well, relatively the same thing. You're trying to go in and trying to read, data, an entire string of data. An entire line of data. So sometimes that give you that problem where you have information in the buffer. So what happened is, if you look at this program, it's right here. It says enter a number, okay? You enter the number, but look, when you enter the number and you hit enter, it skipped what? Enter a character, and it just went to say what? Thank you. Because like they say, you mix what? CN with CN not get, all right? But if you did what I did, enter this number. Right after you enter the number, do a cn.ignore, and it can clear that buffer out. And all it's doing is telling you right here why that is. You read in this number, but you have to hit the enter key. The enter key is like a new line, right? So that new line character is still in the keyboard buffer. So when you go to read, when it says cn that next value that you want to type in from the keyboard, it says, wait a minute, that's still information in the buffer. So this must be what you intend on inputting into the system. So it's going to take this new line and place into that value. And that's why what happens is, look, cn.ignore, solve your problem. But like I say, you got to make sure you put it in the proper place. But look what they did. Int this, see out, enter a number. They entered the number. They know that once they enter that number, they want to clear out the buffer before they start entering other data, because the keyboard, once they hit enter here on this cn, and I'm going to read in another character data, I need to clear the buffer. So they use cn.ignore, and then therefore now it's going to allow me to read in a character. And then this says, okay, just get the character, and then output, thank you. All right? So look, input the number, input the character, thank you. So like I said, just this simple command here. And like I said, this can be very confusing when you have loops within loops within loops, and like I say, hundreds of lines of code, and you trying to say, well, why is it doing this? Where is it doing this? You know, or you call it modules and you don't understand why and where. You know, it can be very, very, very tedious, very tedious. But normally when you're trying to go from that CN and trying to read either that string or either the get, the CN.get, you're gonna run into issues and you're gonna have to use that cn.ignore. All right? All right. String member functions and operations. All right. So now, what they're telling you here is I can take two strings and concatenate them or add them together. So what they did here, they said, okay, string name 1 is equal to world, right? String name 2 is equal to people. But string greeting is equal to hello. So what they did was, with a space at the end. So what they did was they said, okay, greetings 2 is equal to greetings 1, which is hello space, plus name 1, which is world. So if you output greeting 2, it's gonna say hello world, all right? So you say, okay, Woman's Vessel, let's see how that works. Okay, well, what we'll do here, we'll go up here, we'll just delete all this stuff up here and here, and we'll say, okay, string, we can just say string name. I'll just do another string, and I'll give it a value. String name is equal to, it is equal to Baton Rouge. I'll put a space after it. And string not school. Yeah. And I'll put here. Now, I'll take the semicolon out there. So now I could do something like, I could just declare it or come back and whatever, but I'll just declare it. So now I would assign it. School is equal to name plus type. All right. And then I'll do something like this, see out. Okay, then I'll do this, school. All right, so we have this. So we have this. So what should my output be, class? what will my output be? I'm printing out school. What will my output be? So I'll run it just to show you, and it should say community college. See what I'm saying? So what did I do? I had one string, and I initialized it to equal to name. Name, initialize it to equal to Baton Rouge with a space. Then I had another string called type, and I initialized it to be community college. But then I put these two together with a string variable called school with the plus sign. So I said school is equal to name plus type. So what happened is I concatenated name and type to get one output of Baton Rouge Community College. All right? Everybody see that? So that's something you can do with strings also. All right? Let me get back. All right. So you have with math, if you do the math, you got the math.h, the math library, and you got all these functions that can be used. Most time we use like the square root function. The square root give you the square root of a number and all that. Like I could do this. I could say I could do something. I'll just take this off. And the square root function, I can say int x is equal to 16. Then I can say int val. Okay. Then I could say val is equal to the square root sqrt of x. All right. So what that means now, if val is if x is 16, val going to equal to 4. All right. So if I do a cout, okay. All right. So if I output this, this should give me 4. All right. So I run it. And see, val is equal to 4 because what? I said, well, I didn't have to use the math function. It said x was 16, and then I found the square root of x here, and then it gave me the value of the square root of 16. All right? So that's how the functions are used. Well, and the one I was doing, the power function. Well, the power function, I don't think you need it for either. If I change this to 4, all right, there's a function called a power function. And you do POW, and I can say val is equal to power of 4 or x comma 2. All right. So what that's saying is val is equal to x raised to the second power or x squared. All right. Now what? Val is equal to 16, right? So if I run this here, val is equal to, what happened? Oh, look at that. Val is equal to 16. So you see what I'm saying? So that's just the square, not the square, the power function. All right, and it's equal to 16. All right, so that's a function that also is in C++. All right, so here it's showing you square root of number. I mean a square of a number. Square root, SQRT, allows you to find the square root. This is the square root of a squared plus b squared. So you would square a, a to the power of 2, b to the power of 2, add them together, then get the square root and assign it to C. All right, that's just an assignment, a workout. All right, random numbers. Now, random numbers, from looking at it, random numbers, random function. The random function works, but the random function is not powerful enough to generate different outcomes at different times. What happens is with the random function, if you write code with the standard random function, you can always start out with the same value and start with the random over and over and over and over, and likely it'll get the kind of the same repetition. So what they do is they use a formula when they try to get more advanced. They use a formula that includes the date and the time, because what they figure is that the date and the time is not, no two people can exactly run the program at the exact same time to get the same randomized number every time you run a program. So, but the random function does give you a random number, as you run the program. Okay. Now, debugging. Now, the thing is with debugging and tracing, class, it's very important that you as a programmer know what the program is doing. I know many times when you're in school, it's like, man, I don't care. I just want to get it done and do it. That's it. I'll learn it later. That's a bad attitude to have. The thing is, because most times, if you just barely get by or just say, oh, well, I got through, I ain't worried about it now. When you get to that next level, you're going to have, or even if you get with a company, you're going to have to understand what it is that program is doing. And if you don't take the time to kind of understand what it is you're doing now, it's going to be very tough once you happen to get a job and then start working on that job. It's almost like you're going to have to be in school on your own by yourself, trying to learn the things that you should have learned while you was in class. So, saying that, debugging and handle tracing a program. Hand tracing a program. What it is, class, hand tracing allows you to either follow a loop, well, really the program itself steps in stages. If there's a loop, you can go in and track the values of variables as it goes through the loop, values of variables as you step through the program, so that you know what's going on in the program. You're not just guessing, I'm going to put this here to do this. I'm going to put this here to do this. No, you can track, okay, at this stage, this value is equal to this value is equal to this. Okay, I'm going to move to the next statement. When I move to this statement, now I'm assigning my value of, it could be X, to be 0. Now, what does that affect? How does that affect that next line? That next line might have different things going on where it's calculating things and doing whatever. You got to know how it affects it. Or it can be something simply to deal with an if loop, whether or not you're going to perform a while loop, a if loop, a do loop, anything. So it's very important that you're able to track, or trace your program. And looking at this, all this is a simple assignment as to say, okay, double num1, num2, num3, and average, okay? Enter the first number. So what happened, whatever number's in it, you put here, okay? What's num2 when I entered num1? Nothing. What's num3 when it? Nothing. What's average? Nothing. Okay? Enter num2. Okay, what's num1 when I enter num2? The same as it was before. What's num2? The input average, inputted number. What's num3? Nothing. What's average? Nothing. So it's like you're kind of keeping track of what's going on. Okay, enter whatever, they're the same. Okay, what's enter num3? What's num1 when I enter num3? Oh, the same as the input. What's num2? The same as that input. What's num3? The inputted value for num3. What's average? Not known. Okay? Average is equal to num1 plus num2 plus num3 divided by 3. Now I'm at a state, what's num1? Num1 is the value. That was inputted? What's num2? Num2 is the value that was inputted. What's num3? The value that was inputted for num3. What's average? The average, no, it's not. because what? My average formula is incorrect. If I'm trying to find the average, I need to what? Collectively add the numbers together, then divide by 3. You understand what I'm saying? So you can't just assume. And what I would do, well, you would have to type this in, but most times if you typing it in, you're gonna type it like you think it, and get it right. But actually, this is wrong because what this statement will do is you're gonna divide before you add because what? Division has a higher precedence than addition and subtraction. So it's going to take the third number inputted, divided by 3, and say, take for instance, it's a 100. 100 divided by 3 is 33.33. Then it's going to add, if I had 100 here, it's going to put 100. Add 100 here, it's going to put 100. So my average is going to be 233.33, which, hey, something is wrong. It's incorrect. All right. Then when I output my average, what's num 1? Same as the input. What's num 2? Same as the input. What's num 3? Same as the input. What's average? Not average. Well, average gonna be the same thing as what's on this line, or should be. You understand? So you're tracing your program. You're going step by step as to knowing what is going on. And like I say, larger programs, you may have ifs. You may have for loops, while loops, do. You might have functions that you're calling and then returning back. So it's a lot of things that goes on in the program, and you should understand how to trace your program. It becomes very, very important. All right. So look what they did here. What they did is they did line for line. When you did double this, what's everything? We still don't know. End of the first number, we still don't know. Now when I did the CN, now I know that number. When we did see out this one is still 10, nothing is known here, But they kind of went overboard, but at the same time, it's good because nothing is actually being done on the see outs statement. But you're going step by step by step by step through your program so that you can find these values. But then look, for whatever reason, this book has a error because no, it's right. Let's see. Because if I take this 30 divided by 3 is 10. So 10 plus 20 plus 10 is equal to 40. So that is right, but that's not the right average. The right average would be what? 20. Take 10 from 30, so that'll be 20, 20, 20. Or you would add 10 plus 20 is 30, plus 30 is 60. 60 divided by 3 is, well, it would be 20. 60 divided by 3 is 20, all right? So that's what the answer is. And look, it's telling you down here, this is what a mistake would be in this program because your formula is not actually written correctly, all right? All right. So, let's see, what's that? Designing. Program design. Now, program design pretty much deal with somewhat, not necessarily the flow chart, but understanding what's happening. So, when doing this, the program must perform, certain tasks, okay? Ask the user to input dimensions to create, whatever. But that's with this particular program. What they're doing, they're breaking it down into smaller chunks. Rather than trying to do the whole program together, they're breaking the program down. All right? Calculate create volume, cost, price, and profit. How that's done. Okay, I'm going to get the create dimensions. What that is, the length and the width. What I'm going to do after that, I'm going to calculate the cost of customer charge and profit, okay? What else I'm going to do? Then I'm going to display the data or whatever calculations I came up with, the results, I'm going to display that data. So you understand how you're breaking it down into segments And even you could take those segments and create what? Functions or subroutines. All right? So that's what they're just trying to tell you. And even my 104, my 194 class this morning, I tell them, I give them a program dealing with reading data from a file, printing the original data, then calculating whatever, or sorting the data, doing whatever they have to do, and then printing out the data. And I tell them what you could do is work in stages. Rather than try to write the whole program at one time and you got a whole mess of errors, okay, I need to work on reading in the data, making sure my data is read in right. So you run the program, you read in the data, okay, but not just read it in, write it in and print it out. Oh, so I know it's reading the data incorrectly. So now, once I read in the data, now I need to figure out, I'm going to write a function where I can take that data and manipulate it, whatever way I'm sorting it or searching or calculating, whatever it is I'm doing. Do what I have to do in that form. So I know I've gotten the data. I know I got them where I can see it to calculate it, okay? And you can have your little short output statements in that, but you have to remove them because what? You may have a function to display your output. And then so you create that, and then like I say, you're doing it in stages and progressing rather than trying to do one big program and you got all these different type errors. You change one error, it creates another one. You create that one, it creates 10 more. And like you say, you're getting frustrated and you're not actually accomplishing anything. You know, nothing is getting done. So like I say, take your program, you can break it down and then, you know, work through it to solve it. All right, and that's what they're trying to tell you. All right, pseudo code. Now, we don't. Once we get up in 193, we don't stress pseudo code or flowchart as much. But like I say, sometimes you may have to. If you don't understand how and what, sometimes you have to go back and say, wait, let me go back to ground zero. Let me write this flowchart to see exactly what it is I want to do, how I want to do it, what's going on. And sometimes that can give you that understanding, then you can move forward. But when you're just trying to put stuff in a system and get an output and do whatever, that sometimes that don't cut it. Sometimes you may have to wipe all that out and start all over anew. And like I said, now you don't put yourself days behind because you just tried to throw something in there to say, oh, I think I can get it, I'm gonna get it. And then all of a sudden now it's like, oh man, I wasted 2 or 3 days trying to figure something out where I could have sat down and worked it out and then put it into the system. So just make sure you're aware of that. All right. This is the end of the chapter. So what I'm gonna do is, class, I'm gonna post 3 assignments for you, and these assignments gonna be pertaining to the set precision. Oh, I gotta get to the right one. Pertaining to set precision. I think this is it. Yeah. Right. So this is one of them. All right. This is one program. Here's the actual instructions. This is the output, and this is how I want it to look. And like I say, I gave you column widths for my output. And I think I gave, looking at it, I want you to look at it and look at the alignment. If you look at it, the name, right, is left aligned, job title, and the actual job title, left aligned, but then what? All of this is right aligned. Everybody see that, you know, because like I say, I'm gonna take off. I will take off. And look what happened. Enter a name, enter a job title, enter a wage, and enter the hours worked. Now, look at this output here. Wages was inputted as 10. I outputted or displayed it with 2 decimal places. We talked about how to do that. Hours was entered at 80. I wanted 1 decimal place, not 2. So now what? When I output this, now I have to switch back to 1. Then I need to switch back to 2, decimal places. So you understand? We went through that. So like I say, look at the notes so you can accomplish that. And like I said, just telling you how to calculate write the code to calculate a person's salary. All right. But notice what you have here also. You have a wage, hours, a gross pay, but then you have a percentage of 7.2%. Now you can say, oh, 7.2%. How would you put 7.2% in a formula? So stuff like that, you gotta be readily, understand your math and understand how to put that in an expression. All right. So you'd have to find, and then you'd have to know whether you're going to add, subtract, or whatever you're going to do to get the taxes. And then your net pay always is the difference of your gross minus whatever the taxes is. It's not like you're going to the store and buying something where they're adding taxes. Here they're taking out taxes so they can pay Uncle Sam. All right. So that's one of the programs. And then I have, there are going to be two other programs that you're going to have to do. Okay, that's the other one is the first one. Let's go to the next one. Let's see if I have it. Okay, so this one dealing with test scores. All right, we kind of like saw a test average program somewhat, but this one says write a C++ program that prompts the user once. Everybody understand what this says? Only once. Now you say, well, Mrs. Webster, what you mean? How I would do that? Well, this is the thing. If I had, I'm going to take this out. If I had int x, y, z, and average. All right. So I could do something like this. Cout, enter 3 scores. All right. All right. I'm not going to do the average. I'll leave that alone. So now my prompt says enter 3 scores. So what I'll do cn x, y, oh, that's wrong, y, and z. So now what happens is what? My cn is waiting for how many values? 3 values with 1 cn. Everybody understand that? And I could have continued depending on how many I wanted to input. If I had A, B, C, D, E, if I wanted to input, I could have them all on that cn statement. So now I could do a cout, and I'm gonna just do /t, and I'll do x, y, and z. Now, so I'm gonna run this and show you what happens. So I run this, it says enter 3 scores. Now I could do 10, 20, 30, and 40, or whatever, 49. Hit enter. See what happened? And I outputted those 3 scores. Now, I could also run it, and I'll type in 10, hit enter. But what it say? Enter how many scores? 3 scores. So the computer is still waiting with that 1 cout on the next score. So I'll put 20, hit enter. It's still waiting for that 3rd score. So I type in the next one, and now it give me the output. So no matter how I type it in or whatever, I have to put in a number, space, a number, space, a number for it to know that, okay, now you're satisfied my CN, now I can move on, all right? Because it said enter 3 scores. Now that's why I say your prompts have to be very precise, so that the user, you don't know how computer savvy a user is. So many times you want your prompt to be as precise as possible so that you don't have any issues with the user using your software. Okay? All right. So what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna post the test, our quizzes, the quiz and the test, so you can take by next class period. I'm gonna post those 4 assignments that you're gonna have to do, and like I say, we'll meet up on next class period. All right. Anybody with any questions? Any questions? All right. So I'll see you all on next class period. All right.